Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers send their loving care for typhoon victims in Taitung in the aftermath of Nepartak. Pingtung Tzu Chi volunteers check up on evacuated residents of Sandimen to ensure their needs are met. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee Shioda. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program with a series of reports on Typhoon Nepartak's impact on Taiwan. When Nepartak made landfall on July 8th, it caused severe devastation in Taitung, among others. To ease their anxious hearts, Dharma masters from the Jingsi abode, Tzu Chi Foundation staff, and volunteers from Hualien in Taitung visited affected residents, including a Tzu Chi volunteer, delivering consolation cash and Master Zhenyan's condolence letter.
Upon seeing the Dharma master from the Jingsi abode, 94-year-old Grandma Chen breaks into tears. Typhoon Nepartak severely damaged her corrugated metal house. Fortunately, she stays safe hiding in the room. Upon learning of the news, her children from Kaohsiung rushed back to see her. Grandma is very content with the daily necessities she's given. To ease her anxious mind, Dharma Master DaAi has brought consolation cash and Master Zhenyan's letter of condolence.
This comes with the master's best wishes. She wants to put your mind at ease in the aftermath of the typhoon. Don't be scared.
Meanwhile, in Taitung City, a seafood restaurant devastated by the typhoon could no longer operate. The incident made the restaurant owner consider turning the place into a vegetarian restaurant when it reopens.
I am deeply touched. Thank you. I've lost my income. I need to calm down and think of how to start over again.
The volunteers visit the families affected by the typhoon one by one, not only to assess the damages, but also to bring much-needed comfort and encouragement in times of disaster. Chanting the Buddha's name, Tzu Chi volunteer Xie Biwen is glad that her family stays safe during the typhoon. Due to a poor drainage system on the balcony, her house flooded, causing her to fall. Fortunately, after stitching up her wound at the hospital, Xie is recovering well.
Be very careful now. Take your time to do the repairs. Be careful when you climb the stairs.
The Dharma master and Tzu Chi volunteers also give out daily necessities in addition to giving Xie spiritual support.
We wish you, your family, and everyone in the Taitung area safety and prosperity. As Master Zhenyan called upon Tzu Chi volunteers to reach out to the affected residents, Tzu Chi Foundation staff, senior volunteers have traveled to Taitung to assess the needs of typhoon victims. They have also gone to St. Mary's Health Farm to survey the damages.
At St. Mary's Health Farm in Taitung, a group of workers are sawing the fallen bamboo after Typhoon Nepartak devastated many areas of the farm. Fortunately, Tzu Chi Foundation staff and senior volunteers have come to assess the damages and plan future assistance.
The first step is to save the crops that are still good. With our community kitchen, we need to deliver 100 lunch boxes to solitary seniors every day.
The master has given us this important guideline to help other institutions to safeguard life. This health farm, in particular, helps care for the daily lives of indigenous people.
Despite the severe devastation, the staff and volunteers still manage to finish the work at hand and dedicate themselves to help cleaning the debris at the farm. Tzu Chi Foundation is taking action and practicing great love that transcends all boundaries. Besides helping other institutions, the Tzu Chi Foundation staff and volunteers have also come to elementary and middle schools, aided by Tzu Chi's Project Hope of disaster risk reduction. In addition to thanking the construction workers for their hard work, Tzu Chi also reminds them to ensure the structure's safety and quality so students can learn in a safe environment in the future.
To ensure the safety of more residents in Taitung, Tzu Chi volunteers recently visited Xianglan village to get a first-hand look at the typhoon devastation.
Xianglan village saw numerous disaster survivors. Tzu Chi volunteers surveyed the area, inspecting the damage to local houses.
Originally, I thought it's not that bad and I could stay here. But then all of the tiles came off the roof, and I don't know what to do because I'm already so old.
漏水的是哪里？
这全部都是啊。
哦，这个已经掀掉了。
Visiting another family, the situation is equally dire as part of the roof has blown away. This leaves the family susceptible to heavy rains which can fall at any time.
We'll see if we can get these roof tiles repaired as soon as possible. This will stop us from worrying about what happens when it rains.
Tzu Chi volunteer Guo Chen Guiying expresses frustration that yet another typhoon disaster struck the area after the deadly typhoon Morakot.
Most of the houses here have been severely damaged, with some seeing their roof fly off. I don't think we can compensate the agricultural losses, but we can help repair the houses.
Tzu Chi volunteers are lending a helping hand to help comfort these affected residents and share their pain, providing comfort to these victims when they need it the most.
After the passing of Typhoon Nepartak through Taiwan, it is estimated that agriculture and fishery losses total near $24 million, with nearly 20 million of the damage occurring in Taitung County. Among those hardest hit in the region were sugar apple farmers, who have lost a combined harvest covering around 4,200 hectares, or nearly $12 million. We'll also take a look at some of the 25 local schools that suffered damage during the powerful storm.
This is the gate of Kangla Elementary School, completely displaced and surrounded with fallen trees. Other schools, such as Baosang Elementary, are in a similar condition. According to Taidong's Department of Education, 25 local schools have incurred serious damage during the typhoon.
This typhoon was exceptionally severe. We haven't seen anything like it in decades. Almost 90% of the trees were felled in the storm. Our special education building, as well as our activity center and the kindergarten playground, were all badly damaged.
Accompanying a sugar apple farmer into his orchard, he shows us the damage his sugar apple trees have sustained. Just as their crop was coming into season, these farmers watched in despair as their season's sugar apples were destroyed.
Over 80% of the crop has been damaged. These are basically useless. The earnings will be less than the original investment. The investment adds up to about several thousand $, not including the cost of fertilizer.
How much have you lost has become the greeting for sugar apple farmers here in Taitung. In about another month, these farmers would have been able to collect their harvest, but this season looks hopeless.
It seems like this year there won't be a harvest. We'll just have to wait until New Year to see how many trees we can replant. Even next year, harvest will be limited.
In total, over 4,200 hectares of Taidong's sugar apple orchards have been destroyed, equaling a loss of nearly $14 million. Banana growers in the region have also suffered similar losses. Even the beetle leaf plants have been completely flattened. For these farmers in Taidong, Typhoon Nepartak has been particularly unkind. But as they say, nature gives and nature takes away.
Nepartak left a trail of disaster since making landfall in Taiwan. Thankfully, Tzu Chi volunteers soon set up an emergency response center in Hualien. Volunteers also visited relief shelters throughout Hualien with daily supplies, dry goods, hot meals, and Jingsi multi-purpose folding beds, bringing love and care to the affected residents.
Tzu Chi volunteers in the kitchen are busy preparing hot meals for the residents who were evacuated to relief shelters because of Typhoon Nepartak, hoping to deliver care and warmth to them.
Office of Jian Township proposed the preventative evacuation of this area. Because residents from 4 villages have been evacuated to Seng'an Temple, we visited there to care for the villagers.
Over 150 Tzu Chi volunteers in Hualien were mobilized for this disaster relief mission, preparing more than 400 packs of daily supplies and 15 Jinsi multipurpose folding beds for the residents.
Master Jinyan is concerned about the residents' safety and living conditions. We hope they no longer need to sleep on the floor. Also, it would be convenient for the elderly to use Jingsi multipurpose folding beds.
With Tzu Chi volunteers' continuous help, residents in the relief shelters have stayed safe despite the devastation caused by the typhoon.
With Tzu Chi's continuous help, residents in Tainan who also suffered storm damages were able to stay relatively safe. Concerned about the conditions of a Tzu Chi care recipient who is originally from China, Tzu Chi volunteers visited her when the windstorm died down, bringing her daily supplies and much-needed warmth.
On the typhoon day, when the wind and rain are not as strong, Tzu Chi volunteers have come to care recipient Miss Chan's house, bringing her daily supplies and much-needed care.
She suffers neuromuscular disease and lung cancer, so she talks softly.
Tears well up in Miss Chan's eyes as she lies on the sofa. Fortunately, these tears are those of affection for the care from volunteers.
Put your mind at ease. If your son, who's in China, asks about your condition, just tell him you've got friends and help from Tzu Chi.
Her mental state is not very good. She is very depressed and worries about how to carry on.
Tzu Chi volunteers have been visiting Miss Chan, a new immigrant from China, since the end of last year because she is plagued by illnesses and her husband died.
You are very warm-hearted. Fortunately, I have you, or else I would have starved to death.
Fortunately, Miss Zhao, who's also from China, has moved in to stay with Miss Chan and offer her support. The love and care of her friend and Tzu Chi volunteers have given Miss Chan hope as she faces the days ahead.
Though Typhoon Nepartak left Taiwan in a hurry, the wind and rain it brought to the country was quite severe. Next, we follow Tzu Chi volunteers in the Pingtung region as they visit the residents of Sandimen who have been relocated to the emergency shelter. Tzu Chi volunteers visit the shelter where residents from the mountainous region of Pingtung have been relocated.
We just had mats in the past. Now we have this comfortable bed. This year is different.
These villagers are glad to see the volunteers, whom they have come to regard as friends.
Our village is in the danger zone, as the dam might collapse. Thank you for coming all this way to care for us.
As residents left their home prior to the typhoon landing, many of them only brought needed daily necessities. Thus, everyone was glad to see the volunteers bring some snacks and their friendly smiles. Meanwhile, Mr. Chen's family of 3 was relocated to the veterans' home as the roof of their house was blown away by the heavy wind of the typhoon. The senior Chen and his son and the son's disabled wife were relocated in a hurry by the county government. Having brought nothing with them, Mr. Chen was glad when the volunteers offered their phone so he could let his family know the 3 of them were safe.
My meds are on the desk. Is my room soaked?
Thanks to the volunteers' assistant, Mr. Chen was able to contact his sister to make arrangements for later. In the days ahead, Tzu Chi volunteers will continue to monitor the situation and offer their assistance wherever needed. No matter rain or shine, there is always a group of railway workers busy checking Taiwan's railways to keep passengers safe. Today, we take a look at the high-risk and labor-intensive work of the TRA railway maintenance crews. These workers are known as the railway doctors. Their work is all about spotting problems in advance and making sure that accidents don't happen. Let's take a look at some of their hard work.
Patrolling this length of track in their hard hats and reflective vests, this is a TRA railway maintenance crew inspecting the track from Keelung to Qidu. In Taiwan, TRA maintains over 1,700 kilometers of railway track, and it is all cared for by a force of around 1,200 workmen. One step at a time, these workers are ensuring the safety of Taiwan's railway infrastructure.
有变形吗？
没有下线的。
没有下线。
Squatting over the tracks and keeping their heads low, these workers are responsible for inspecting the state of the tracks. In a single day, they may cover 7 or 8 kilometers of track.
要看这警车怎么来，规定的车子哪边来，你要看面向车子。
Out of concern for safety, since the trains are running as the maintenance crews work, every patrol also has one member assigned as a lookout. If the lookout's attention lapses for one moment, it can be a matter of life and death.
Growing up, teachers used to say, if you work on the railroad, then you are doing a kindness for society. We are taking care of the track in order to keep all the passengers safe. For us, every day the trains are operating smoothly, we get a feeling of satisfaction.
They have to replace this cracked block. One of these weighs 200 kilograms. Even for 4 well-built men, carrying this block is difficult. They must also pick up the large rail hammers to switch out the cracked rail clasp. Knocking out and reinserting the pins is no easy task.
Sometimes you can get one in a single blow. For me, it usually takes 3 to 5 strikes.
This work is tough, and there is heavy labor involved, also night shifts. Generally speaking, most of the new employees that come on board don't usually stay for very long.
The maintenance crews work silently day and night to keep the tracks in top working condition. They will also be the ones who do test runs on the tracks they have repaired.
订班P19连挂号自由乱。
Every day, rain or shine, the train cars traveling back and forth up and down Taiwan must rely on the shunting cars in order to be set on the right track before their journey. After an order from the main office to recouple trains, the crew must first unplug a car's electrical cable and then connect the shunted car to the rest of the train in a process that must be done in less than 15 minutes.
We don't really get any break time. There are 3 shifts that cover 24 hours, and they're always in rotation. There's no free time during a shift, because if the shift working today has a problem or if there's an accident, then the next group will get their orders beforehand to begin right away. There's no way to delay the maintenance work.
Due to the hurried nature of the work, if anyone is the slightest bit careless, then accidents can easily occur.
Sometimes, if these latches are not secured tightly, they will fall off. If it falls and strikes a person, it can break bones.
To ensure safety for themselves and passengers, paying attention to every little detail is an important part of the job for these TRA crews.
Every time we successfully take care of our responsibilities, we just think, today the trains are still running, so I guess we've done our job.
Just as the crews who work and sweat keeping the train safe need a good bath after a long period of work, so do the trains. To keep the trains clean and comfortable and wash away the grime that can collect, they're taken for a good cleaning, so they can be ready for the next run on the tracks.
Once upon a time, being a teacher in Taiwan guaranteed one an income for the rest of your life. However, given the country's rapidly declining birth rates, many municipalities have merged and decommissioned schools. This has led to fewer classes and less demand for teachers, some of whom had to leave their schools and look for new appointments. This year, Taiwan saw an overall reduction of 60,000 middle school students, subsequently posing a big problem for educational officials.
Regarding my situation, our school originally had a policy protecting those on parental leave and not making them subjected to being designated as excess teachers.
Miss Wang was on maternity leave when she received a notice from the school designating her as an excess teacher. Being designated an excess teacher is now a hot topic for many elementary and middle school teachers, as it means they must leave their original school and search for another place to teach.
Everyone is afraid of being designated as an excess teacher. This means they don't know where the next place of employment will be, as they don't have guaranteed employment. If they can make such guarantees for other laborers, allowing them to go back to their work after parental leave, why can't we get the same protection?
Declining birth rates in the country has led to this problem of excess teachers, which is now a prevalent problem at various schools. According to the Ministry of Education, 3 years ago there were more than 50,000 elementary school classes, predicting that by the year 2018, some 4,000 of these classes will be cut, affecting more than 5,000 teachers. The effect on junior high schools is even more grim, as a number of classes will dip below 20,000, meaning 5,000 classes will be cut, affecting some 10,000 teachers. In 2016, some 60,000 fewer junior high school students have been seen, with the top 6 municipalities seeing a decline of 5,000 students. In many municipalities, the number of excess teachers can be anywhere from 200 to 300.
A few years ago, the excess teachers associated with these students is now affecting junior high schools, as municipal governments must step forward to deal with this matter. If they don't, it will be too much for the schools to handle.
June of each year is when junior high school students register, which leaves both teachers and parents quite anxious about enrollment.
There are fewer and fewer students. I heard that the school has some teachers that may be ready to retire, and they may not be taking their teaching seriously.
After recruitment is completed, the school begins assessing how many excess teachers they have. Today, Taoyuan is holding its last teacher recruitment meeting, with each school reporting the number of teaching vacancies they have, as these excess teachers must find new teaching assignments.
We have seen a large reduction in the number of junior high classes, as we predict that we will have 111 classes. We've already suspended the standard recruitment of teachers. They now say that all schools must have a teacher vacancy rate of between 5 to 7%.
In our school, if we announce our vacancies and hire substitute teachers, then when there are excess teachers, we can hire them and make good use of these spaces.
Original regulations stipulate that for every 9 classes a new teacher can be added, but Taoyuan has gone a step further and broadened it to adding 1 teacher for every 6 classes, directly creating new demand for teachers.
Next year, they have declared they could reduce this ratio to 1 teacher for every 4 classes, indicating the situation has become more severe. We have already taken care of the problem now, but next year it will be more severe.
Taoyuan City is trying to find a temporary solution to the plight of excess teachers, but these problems will only intensify, potentially causing excellent teachers to go elsewhere and create an education crisis for the next generation of students in Taiwan.
At the end of the program, we head to Canada, where Tzu Chi volunteers are holding an aid distribution for families of domestic violence. This time, the volunteers especially brought pillows and pillowcases, as in the past year of care, those were the things of comfort the recipients were lacking. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.